Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome. This is the Windup, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly college baseball show. And I want to make note, it's not Harrison Fant's fault. We are late. It's mine. I will take ownership of that today. Anyways, what's going on, guys? Again, we're live doing this. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Harrison Fant. This is the Windup. We have got a jam-packed show for you here on this Monday. Lots to break down, lots to talk about, not just what happened on the field, Harrison, but there's a new number one in the college baseball rankings. We're going to discuss that, break that down, give our thoughts. Again, guys, as always, we appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $150 in bonus bets today. Once again, it is Monday, March the 3rd. Happy March to everyone. That means conference play is just around the corner. Before then, we got a lot to discuss. What happened over the weekend? Tournaments, rivalry series, everything in between. New rankings are out as well. A lot to get into. I am Chris Phillips. Joining me on the Windup, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly college baseball show, the best college baseball show you're going to find around these parts, at least SEC focused, and I would say the entire country. My good friend Harrison Fant. He joins me as he always does, my co-host, my colleague. Harrison, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Excited to dive into all of this with you. We got a lot to break down here on this Monday. What's up?
Chris, always a pleasure to be here. Love talking college baseball, especially the best conference in college baseball, the SEC. That's for sure. And I mean, the rankings prove that. The talent proves that. The 5 straight national championships by different teams prove that. And boy, do we have a weekend.
Yeah, what a weekend it was, man. Let's go ahead and jump into it again. We got a lot to discuss. We will talk about the rankings that have come out. I think the conversations we're going to have, obviously breaking down these series and everything, will kind of naturally lead us there. I want to discuss what the teams did first, Harrison, and then we'll dive into the top 25, the what, the why, etc. Harrison, if you don't mind, I want to start where I was over the weekend. I was down in Gainesville, Florida. It was well documented. We'll have the full vlog dropping later this week. We got a one-on-one with Colby Shelton, Gators starting shortstop, dropping later today. If you don't mind, Harrison, I want to start there because the Florida Gators had a loud weekend. Granted, you lose Sunday, but the Gators take 2 of 3 from their hated rival, the Miami Hurricanes, at Condren Family Ballpark. Again, I want to say this, and I said it on the vlog. Thank you once again to everyone affiliated with Florida baseball, Coach Kevin O'Sullivan, the entire staff, the guys. I got to hang out on the field, BP in and out Saturday and Sunday, hanging out with those dudes. It was a lot of fun. But what Florida Harrison did on the field, I walked away really impressed. Again, they win 2 of 3, win Friday, win Saturday. Things got a little squirrely Sunday, obviously. They threw a lot of guys that don't normally throw. And when you throw your dudes, your Philpotts, your McNeelys, your Menendezes, they went to the same exact bullpen both Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You had to throw some freshmen. You had to throw some unproven guys. And, again, talking to folks down there, talking to them, they got a big midweek slate, Harrison, coming up. We're going to preview that and predict it, by the way. Got a big midweek slate coming up, so you kind of had to be smart with your pitching on Sunday. And some guys came in, and obviously the moment, you learn what you got, obviously, in a non-conference series like that. But Florida takes 2 of 3. Harrison, your thoughts on what the Gators did? Again, Friday 6-2, Saturday 6-3, and Sunday they lose 13-7. And again, a game where really 3 innings. They had 2 big innings that cost them in that one. But the bottom line is this: Florida takes 2 of 3 against Miami, who I think is a quality ACC opponent. What'd you walk away with, Harrison? Your thoughts on these series as a whole?
I think Florida walked away kind of showing us what we already knew, but on a bigger stage. And they did that with the bats, with the starting pitching with Liam Peterson, and then Pierce Capella, who was 2 2/3, no hit, 3 Ks, but left with some soreness and whatnot. Hopefully, that's not anything that lingers on. And then Aiden King coming on and shoving. I mean, his stuff's electric. The ball runs. He's throwing like a power sinker, it seems like, with a lot of run, a lot of movement on his pitches, great control. And like you said, a good ACC ball club, I think, especially in a rivalry series, anything can happen. And they took care of business on the bats, right? The offense was explosive up and down the lineup. Bobby Bozer having a week like he always seems like does, making loud contact, putting the ball in play all the time, home runs, RBIs all over. And then you got Luke Heyman, 2 RBI day on Saturday, 4 RBI day on Saturday with 2 home runs. Bobby Bowser having a home run himself. Brody Donay, the power that he brings, and had a day on Sunday, 3 for 4 with their home run, and just showing us how deep and talented they are and consistently playing at a high level that Florida is. But the part about the bullpen on Sunday that kind of you touched on, I think it's maybe in a normal non-conference, but against your rival, against Miami, I don't agree with that statement. It's just like, the big midweek slate, focus on that. You focus on your rival on the weekend on Sunday, take care of business as best you can, and try to sweep, because you got a chance to sweep on Sunday against your rival. You do it at all costs, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't think, Harrison, I want to say this. Talking to them, I don't think obviously they put in guys like they didn't throw their best. They just had to throw some unproven guys. I mean, again,
it's a good opportunity for them to learn and experience that in a rivalry game, games that matter.
So. Yeah, and I think, for them, they talked about the foot on the throat mentality with some younger guys. I think a lot of young guys look at it and say, hey, we already took 2 or 3, no big deal. That's something that they will preach and continue to work on. To your point, Harrison, I walked away really impressed with Florida. Again, I got to see them up close. You mentioned Luke Heyman, the 2 big bombs on Saturday. I tell you this, man, the pitching's elite. We'll see what happens with Pierce Capella, but Aiden King is the next Friday night guy at Florida. I'm willing to stand on that. Like, that dude is filthy. And the heartbeat, the thing I think really encourages you about him, if you go to Florida, you probably have good stuff. That kid has elite stuff. The heartbeat is steady. Like, he's not a guy that, like, he looked very calm to me. He got fired up, obviously, and you would expect that in a rivalry series. He got fired up, but, like, I'm just saying, like, he doesn't – you can't tell if he's up 10-0, down 10-0. I feel like the mentality, the morale, the heartbeat stays the same. You got Liam Peterson, the way he's throwing on Friday, and, I mean, I thought he did a really good job, because for him it's mental. I thought he did a really, really good job early. Got into a little bit of trouble, bases loaded. First inning I had no problem. Listen, couple knocks, it is what it is. Throw strikes, you challenge hitters. They scored a run, no big deal. He got in that bases loaded jam. He gives up 1 run, but he gets out of it, and he's able to give Florida some length. And then again, Florida's bullpen, I mean, that trio of Mendoza, McNeely, and then Philpott, who I think they like in the closer spot, Florida set. And then the lineup, Harrison, I would say this. Are they going to be the best offense in the SEC? I don't know about that, but it's going to be really tough for you to get 27 outs without getting touched up a little bit. It's going to be really difficult. They're so deep. I mean, they're so deep. There's so many guys. Really, 1 through 9, that lineup can hurt you. It's not just your Donays or your Heymans or your Bozers.
And Luke Heyman's batting 8-hole.
Yeah, right. You got Blake Sear batting bottom of the lineup. He can do damage. He had a really good weekend. Not just swinging it, but laid down a couple sack bunts. Florida's a really good baseball team. I mean, that's the most basic takeaway from it. They did what I kind of thought, Harrison. Again, Miami, really good frontline starting pitching. That was the scouting report. It lived up to the hype, right? The lineup, not a ton of pop. That lived up to the hype. And Florida they were able to, I thought as an offense, chip away. Once the starters were out of the game, they took advantage of the bullpen. Florida, clearly the better team. One of the best teams in the country for my money's worth. I mean, I really think this Florida team, they have the makings, like some others will talk about, the LSUs, the Tennessees. They've got the makings of this team can absolutely win a national championship. Like, they've got those dudes. So I walked away impressed, man. I really did.
Yeah, of course. And, obviously winning a rivalry series, no matter how you do it, is always what you want to do. And Miami seems to be dominated, it feels like, every year by Florida.
Dude, they have, in recent memory, yes, they have. I think they've won 10 of the last 12 series.
It doesn't
like that.
Close. Yeah.
I mean, Sully has dominated Miami in his time there. I think he's like 44-18 in his last in recent games against them or whatnot. You also look at the all-time series is now tied. How about that? So you got to wait till next year if you're a Florida fan.
They tied up on Sunday.
Yeah. Miami tied it up. So you got to wait until you're a Florida fan. You got to wait till next year if you're going to take the all-time series lead. But dude, again, can't say thank you enough to the Florida baseball program, Coach Kevin O'Sullivan, again, the entire staff, the players. They looked good. They looked really good, man. I love the pitching. This feels like just kind of your traditional Kevin O'Sullivan Florida club. And I just think 1 through 9. Again, they got things to figure out like every SEC team does. I think depth in the bullpen, that'll be something they strive to in the midweek, finding guys that can come in and, beyond the top 3 that I mentioned. That's something certainly you want to get figured out. Consistency for some other dudes in the lineup, seeing a little bit more. But Dude, yeah. It was very business-like over the weekend, and we talked about it on a Friday, man. The only thing I'd say, Gator fans, I love you. I say it with love. Stay to the final out, man. If you're beating your rival's ass, just stay to the final out. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. By the way, part of a record-breaking crowd, yours was truly, Harrison, on Saturday. 9303 at Condren Family Ballpark. So that being said, let's keep it moving. Let's talk the Astros. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's talk the Astros Foundation Classic down at Dakin Park. It's Minute Maid. Down in Houston, Texas. Listen, we got a surprise for you guys. We wanted the boots on the ground report. And I also think Harrison wanted to take some of the attention off me because I'm going to get in Texas A&M's ass on this show. I am. I don't care they beat Rice last night. We're going to talk Texas A&M. They dropped 13 spots in the rankings. Again, we're going to get our guy who was there in person.
In the juice box, because it'll always be the juice box, Chris.
In the juice box, Jake McKeever making a guest appearance. Jake, what's up, man? Again,
thanks for having me. And Jake, it's Icebox now. I will say this is kind of a good transition.
It is. I think it's the juice box personally. That's what I'm going with. You were there, Jake, in person. Again, I want to set the scene here. Tennessee goes 3-0. Mississippi State and Texas A&M both go 1-2. A&M kind of salvages a little bit of the weekend. They run rule Rice in 7, 14-4. Jake, I'll let you take the floor again. You were there in person. You watched every single one of these games. Thoughts on what you saw from all three teams over the weekend in Houston?
I mean, we'll start off with obviously the winner of the weekend, Tennessee. They came in, took care of business, did everything that was asked of them. They got to flex the bullpen a little bit because some of those Arizona and Oklahoma State games were pretty close. Gavin Thielen quietly introduced himself to everybody in the SEC. Mike has been talking about it for all year that he's insanely powerful. And it was really funny. Everybody was asking him, where's this power come from? Where's this power come from? And he had it last year. But I came away really impressed with Liam Doyle. Phillips in that Saturday role, I think he's going to be one of the better Saturday guys in the country for Tennessee. And, y'all just talked about Florida. I don't know how you beat Tennessee. And I also don't really know how you beat Florida in a 3-game series because both those teams just seem like they're on a collision course for that first weekend in the SEC.
There's power arms and power bats up and down the lineup. It's so deep on both sides.
Yeah, that's going to be electric at Lindsey Nelson, by the way. It's going to be a lot of fun. Jake, I want to specifically move to – let's start with Tennessee, actually. I don't want to spend the entire time dwelling on A&M. Dude, they're so good. If you're a Tennessee hater, you are punching air today. You're going to be punching air all season because how do they say it on Twitter? The demise is not happening, I fear. It's just not, bro. Like they're so good.
Well,
he talks about incredible crowd in Minute Maid. It was very Tennessee. Like,
yeah,
they were loud, they were vocal. I mean, they just started screaming. It's a great day to be a Tennessee Vol. Like, it was just on repeat the entire weekend. I mean, I don't know what kind of witchcraft Tony V was able to accomplish, but somehow they passed on the, defending champion curse to the national champion curse to the defending champion.
To the runner-up.
The defending runner-up.
Yeah. No, and, you talk about just, Gavin Thielen introducing himself. Like, he introduced himself with a lineup that's so deep already and then has freshmen like Levi Clark that is just off to an absolute heater to start the season. I mean, we talk about Derek Kirill at LSU and, was it Terrence Keel at A&M and just how elite freshmen, there's a few elite freshmen that are playing at such a high level. I think Levi Clark is absolutely in that conversation for SEC freshman of the year. And he adds to the depth of that lineup. And like you said, Marcus Phillips, I mean, I think he's one of the top half, if not top third Saturday starters in the SEC. And the slider, I know you saw it in person, Jake. The slider looked plus. It looked absolutely lethal.
I saw it on the TrackMan. It was an incredible break.
Dude, it had to have had 12 inches of horizontal run.
And they were talking to a few of the Rice coaches. They're like, okay, we feel good. Like, you have to feel good when you get in the bullpen because that's how every team is. And he goes, then they run out. They threw a guy on Sunday. I forget his name, but it was 94 with sinking action.
He transferred in from Kennesaw State.
It was just incredible. And I will say this, the underrated thing that a lot of people aren't going to talk about is the defense for Tennessee is really, really good. A.J. Abernathy threw a kid out by 45 feet. They had numerous diving catches. So for as powerful as the lineup is, they don't skip a beat on the defense. Yeah. Tony V has them completely hungry with the chip on their shoulder. And, even though they're not going to be number one in some of those polls, Tony
should be.
He started talking about basketball when somebody asked him about being number one in the poll. He goes, yeah, I fully agree. He goes, there's no reason they shouldn't be number one in the basketball tournament.
Yeah, I mean, a great weekend for Tennessee sports, that's for sure. I mean, and the guy you're talking about, the bullpen, he transferred from Kennesaw State, Tanner Franklin, throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour. I mean, good luck. Just with the arms that they have. And it feels like everyone they bring out of the bullpen, Jake, throws 95 or harder.
Chip Hale talked about it. Josh Holiday from Oklahoma State talked about it, and Rice, that, yeah, like this is what you sign up for when you play an SEC team. You're going to run out.
Yeah.
I said throw 95. Josh Holiday, when he played, 20, 30 years ago, they had 5 guys in the entire conference that threw over 95, and Tennessee had 5 guys in the weekend throw over 95.
Yeah, Chris, I was probably 8 years too late for my peak in the SEC, but okay. I mean, then you have, Dylan Loy, who's got just filthy stuff on his end, and you have on Saturday alone, the pitchers for Tennessee had 15 strikeouts as a staff.
And Rice, I will say this. Rice is a decent hitting team. They don't have a very good bullpen, but they are a good enough team that they'll probably be in a lot of their American games. And Tennessee really kind of, I wouldn't say relaxed, but they looked very, very relaxed in that Rice game. And granted, it's not the Wayne Graham Rice stuff, but they can hit decent enough to keep them in a lot of these games.
Yeah.
Jake, they lost 13-3, 14-4, and 14-3. Don't talk to me about the Rice Owls.
I'll say this.
What are they? Los Buños. Is that what it was? Buños? The Los Buños? Get out of here with this Rice chatter. because I'm going to move to A&M, and I'm not going to let the Rice game dictate the conversation I'm about to have.
Well, Chris, hold on.
Before you go ahead. I'll let you go.
Hey, they had the exact same weekend that Mississippi State had, and no one seems to be talking about it.
Not yet. Not yet.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean,
first.
Yeah, first off, Tennessee's a wagon. Tennessee's a straight up wagon. Tony V is just I mean, my preseason thoughts on Tennessee are probably going to be very wrong. Although we're not in conference play yet, but they look just as good as last year. I mean, they look just as good as any year under Tony Vitello. He's reloading, not rebuilding in any capacity.
Yep.
By the way,
Semo and Blake Burke.
And I would say this: it's not just a Tennessee thing. The freshmen in the SEC are crazy. Like
they're so mature.
There's so many of them that are just. I mean, Brendan Lawson at Florida. I didn't even talk about. They love that kid. You see why he had a big weekend. Levi Clark had a big week. Derek Curiel was the favorite to win the freshman. Like the race for freshman of the year in the SEC is probably going to be the most fun race to watch.
I think it's the most exciting for sure so far.
It's going to be the most fun to watch.
Before
no doubt.
We move on, and you can go ahead and clip this. I think Gavin Keelan and Andrew Fisher are better than Semo and Burke. Keelan's a better fielder, has very similar numbers, and I think Fisher's a better hitter than Blake Burke. I think that those two additions are better than the people that they're replacing.
And why is Levi Clark playing first?
They're still working through some kinks into their stuff. I mean, they rolled out 3 different lineups, like they really did. Everybody's hitting. Like I don't know how. Like Tony V's biggest issue is that too many people are doing too good.
Yeah, I mean it's a wealth of riches.
Yeah, it's an abundance, no doubt. Guys, Texas A&M. You go 1-2. They needed a big weekend. They didn't get it. I don't care what you did against Rice. Rice stinks. I don't care. Dude, it's early in the season, but it's not. Conference plays around the corner. We've entered the month of March. Texas A&M has paid dearly for their struggles. They are now 14th in the latest polls. This is a good time to talk about it, by the way. There's a new number 1 in college baseball. We'll talk about LSU's weekend. They are number 1. Tennessee is number 2. Arkansas is 3, which I disagree with, to be honest.
I disagree with several things.
And Georgia's at 5. I disagree.
I strongly disagree with that.
Florida's at 7. But again, A&M has paid for their struggles, not 14. I think it's deserved. I mean, dude, like to have the talent that Texas A&M has and to look as bad as they've looked. And again, I know you put belt to ass to Rice. Congratulations. So did everybody else in the tournament.
Maybe that's just a turning point for them, though. Maybe they just kind of felt.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
You know, the energy in the dugout. Jake talked about it. He was posting all about it. You know, the scoreboard's not, the box score's not going to show up, but there was a lot more liveliness, you know, electric, you know, energy in the dugout.
Well, I tell you this, Harrison, like, thank God, because if not, it would have been time to start having Michael Early conversations. That's the convo nobody wants to have.
Still too early.
It's early, no pun intended. But I'm just saying that ball club is too good and too talented to look as shitty as they've looked. Like, they are seeing ghosts at the plate. They're straight up. They're not having fun. We talked about it on Friday. Maybe the Rice game, just beating up on somebody, will be the turning point. But I'm just saying, like, we can't forget what happened in games 1 and 2 because you beat the hell out of a Rice team that Tennessee and Mississippi State also beat the hell out of. Agreed. I'm just saying, like, I mean, what's weird about it, Jake, you made the point, like, Early was the hitting coach last year. You got a guy like Jace Lavalette who's just striking out like 50% of the time. But to your point, maybe the Rice game, you know, it's weird how baseball works. Jace gets a few swinging bunt singles and stuff like that can get you going, exactly. To your point. But you just can't forget what happened in games 1 and 2, in my opinion. You can't. So
it start because Rice's second baseman and shortstop both looked at each other. And it's kind of weird how baseball kind of does it. But I will say this. They did unfortunately run into Colin McKinney, who is a good quality starter against Arizona. Obviously, you would have liked to have had them do more damage into the bullpen and stuff like that. I think that there's a lot of these bigger guys, bigger bodies. I mean, you can look at Nolan Schubart, Gavin Cash. They take a little bit longer to get going. I mean, Jace has always kind of started slow.
He has. He talked about it with me.
Had people that have been able to kind of mask it. I'll say this about A&M. If you're a team playing them, why are you not swinging at it, like taking till you get 2 strikes? Because they do not have anybody in the bullpen that I don't think that they trust. They have 3 of the best starters in the SEC. I mean, the worst start of them was Miles Patton getting yanked after 5 innings because they're run rolling him, and he allowed
3 runs. I mean,
they don't. Prager was good. Lampkin was good, but the bullpen, they're going to have somebody in the back end of that bullpen step up, and they're probably going to have 2 or 3 because some of these SEC teams are going to be such a meat grinder that you're going to blink and you're going to be at 60 pitches through 2 1/3.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Luke Jackson looked good.
Weston Moss did not look very good Friday, I will say, against Rice. Granted, it is Rice. You should have confidence against Rice. But he looked lost on Friday against Arizona. Like, he hung a slider to, I think it was Summerhill or Mason White or somebody, and they smoked it. And his body language just, like, instantly changed.
Just not a feel for it, or, like, just not confident in his stuff?
Not confident at all. Like, I saw him on the mound. He was like, it was like a big breath, and he was kind of shaking and twitching. And then he threw the next changeup, and he bounced it. So they got to get some kind of confidence. And again, maybe kicking a team like Rice. I will say this. You're never as good as you think you are in baseball, and you're never as bad as you think they are. I don't think A&M's as bad as people are kind of making it seem like, because at the end of the day, they're not the first team in the world to blow a game on Sunday and then turn around and lose 2 straight against teams that, they are better than. But Oklahoma State and Arizona are both kind of in that fringe ranking. They're both, obviously they're not Tennessee, LSU, those, but they are going to be like a Kentucky and Alabama. And there's going to be SEC teams that lose 2 straight to Kentucky's, Alabama's, Mississippi State's of the world. They need to have somebody in the bullpen. They need to not get so relaxed. Maybe they needed, to go check Twitter and see everybody shitting on them because they looked insane.
Some of them have been. I mean,
guys,
you talk about having confidence. Maybe this is kind of a turning point for them in their season. They play UTSA on Tuesday, Texas Southern Wednesday, then New Mexico State for a series, and then Prairie View, and then Alabama. So this is a time which they can ramp things up and kind of take Sunday's game and run with it. I mean, this is the most prime opportunity.
Are good hitting teams, so the bullpen is going to be challenged. Obviously, New Mexico State's pitching is borderline SWAC level, but they have a decent
depth, though.
Going to probably challenge the pitchers, which I think is perfect for what A&M needs. They really need to have somebody in the back end of the bullpen get some confidence, because it feels like, we always joke that, it's a fight at the bat rack for when Tennessee gets to the plate. It seems like everybody in the A&M bullpen's hiding. It's a fight to not get in there and take your rounds.
And when you're that way, it finds you. The ball finds you.
Always does.
Always does.
Dude, I would say this too. By the way, Harrison, the name Luke Jackson as a Braves fan triggers me, so don't ever say that name again. I know you'll get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
My biggest regret when it comes to this college baseball season is not giving credit to the fact that things might get off to a rocky start with the first-year head coach. I'll be honest with you. Like I honestly, maybe the best thing that will happen to A&M this season is not being ranked number one. Maybe because they have been pressing. Like there's no, I don't care who you want to blame. They are pressing. There is no question. Again, Rice, they finally had some fun. Winning is fun. Hitting the ball a long way is very fun. But they have been pressing. It's like maybe being ranked 14th, maybe people thinking they suck will be the best thing that happened. But like when we're 9 games in, when we're 2 weeks in, and you're dropping a bit on the notes app, that's a bad sign, guys. Like and you know what I don't like about that? I want to speak on that for a moment, the Shane Sado thing. Here's what I don't like about that. Why is that not an in the clubhouse convo? Why? What it tells me is Michael Early doesn't control his ball club. Like Twitter controls his ball club. Why are you reading? It tells me you're going to the A&M baseball account and you're reading the replies after every game. Why are we doing that? I don't care what people on Twitter are saying. Like, I made the point on social media. Like, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not condoning it, but we're in the NIL space. Jay Slavalette, you're getting paid $1 million to hit the baseball. When you don't, people are going to be pissed. Welcome to the real world. Like, you're getting paid $1 million to pitch. Like, when you pitch like shit, you're going to get crap for it. Welcome to the real world. Like, don't drop the notes app thing on me. Like, Michael Early, get control of your ball club. Stop having them read social media and go out and play and go win some games. You were preseason ranked number 1. Like, they are pressing. And I think my biggest mistake in preseason, because I, like everybody else, had them number 1. I didn't pick them to win the SEC, but had them right at the top. One of the reasons I didn't pick them to win the SEC was because of what we're seeing. I think the pressure, but like, Michael Early, this is a test for you because everybody's going to start asking, are you in over your head? Are you in over your head? If SEC play gets off to a rough start, are you in over your head? Like, they're pressing, guys. They're pressing. And again, maybe them not being number 1 anymore and playing like shit early on will be the best thing that happened to them because obviously they have not handled expectations well. And I guess this is an A&M thing. Jake, you can speak to it, but they haven't handled expectations well. So maybe kind of being the chip on the shoulder, nobody believes in us. Like, I've listened to A&M guys speak on this. Billy Lucci, we love those guys at Texas. They've spoke on that when A&M is that kind of underdog, like nobody believes in us, it's like they play better. And when they get expectations,
I think a lot of teams
don't. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's easier to be the hunter than the hunted. It is. That's what makes Tennessee so impressive, right? Like, everybody knows how good they are, and they keep beating people's ass. But like,
Hunter Ansley told me, he goes, "We were number 1 last year, and they still feel like the hunter." That's how Georgia football is. Like, that's how Bama football was under Saban. That's what makes it so impressive. But again, back to my point. Maybe the Rice game, they start having fun. Maybe being 14, they change their attitude. But like, bro, get off of Twitter, miss me with the note app thing, and go win some freaking baseball games. Like that was a bad sign to solves
me.
A lot of problems.
That was a bad sign to me. I didn't like that. I like Michael Early, get control of the club. Like,
I will say Shane, it
shouldn't be happening.
Him and Gavin have been more active on Twitter with it. But, I mean, it was a bad weekend. And, yeah, the Rice thing's going to probably put a little bit in. But, I mean, you're going to have these stretches. Josh Holiday said this, week 1, that you'd rather get punched in the mouth week 3 or 4 than a team like Georgia or Kentucky where we really don't know what they have. If they drop 2 straight, everybody like how we saw on A&M Saturday, everybody kind of freaks the fuck out a little bit. But
the sky's falling.
Here's the thing: is it happened in a meaningless game. Like, at the end of the day, it's not going to affect the tournament chances. It's not going to affect the SEC standings. So, kudos to the teams that go out and schedule it. And I know that Chris and we get to travel and go to some of these great tournaments. That kudos to the teams that go out and schedule and learn about their teams. Because Michael Early knows what his team is right now. And I think some of these SEC teams like Georgia and Kentucky still don't know what they have.
Yeah.
Like,
And I
And
mean,
I want to make it clear, Harrison, your point. I'm not selling like all of my stock on A&M. I could see them getting it going, but
don't give them credit, Chris.
they need to get their ass in gear, like straight up. Like,
Chris, we talked about the non-conference that they have, coming up right before SEC play. Bama at home, Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt, and then Kentucky at home. Not the worst start to the SEC.
they'll have a chance to get it rolling, and they better get it rolling because the back half is brutal. Their back half of their SEC schedule,
I think it sets up nice for them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mississippi State at all? Because they kind of had a.
I was going to ask you, Jake, about Mississippi State going 1-2. What your thoughts were on them?
Everybody kind of forgets about it because they won on Friday night. I feel like that's
they dominated on Friday night.
Saturday, I will say they kind of ran out of time a little bit because they kind of came out late. And then Sunday, they had a nightmare inning that Oklahoma State kind of punished them for about 9 bunts.
A 5-run 7th. Right after scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th.
It was the exact same situation, I feel like, with A&M. Obviously, they had a little bit more offense than A&M had, but it was a eerily similar weekend. I will say this. I'm starting to kind of see some pictures on Twitter about Lemonis's replacement. So the hot seats, the fans are starting to kind of get into it.
They're very antsy when it comes to Lemonis. Again, Harrison gave me shit. They were ready last year, though. Like, what I said wasn't crazy when I was like, it's time to move on from Chris Lemonis. They weren't happy they had to travel for a regional. Like, they weren't happy with last year.
I mean, when you get to play the dude, I wouldn't blame them.
A lot of
I'm not surprised that State fans are pissed. I'm not.
Yeah.
Lethargic.
See, another thing, like Jake said, and we say all preseason in non-conference, you get to learn about your club playing neutral sites against very quality teams. We think Oklahoma State is a postseason team, is a top 3 team in the Big 12. That's that's going to have a chance to win the Big 12 this year.
They
are
a
really good club.
Yeah. They have very similar. Obviously, they're a little less talented than A&M, but
I think Nolan Schubar is an All-American.
Oh, 100%. But
he had a 3-run home run in the 6th. I mean,
it was his first
All-American
too, by the way.
By the way, too, I will say this: we're an SEC show, but Arizona's looked really good. Dude, after we saw them opening weekend, I was stunned how good they looked.
Well, see, that's why I was confused because you're like they're just so bad, like blah blah blah, whatnot. The whole first
they
weekend,
looked terrible. They looked awful that opening weekend.
I thought I had a feel of them about how it's like, okay, it's going to be Summerhill, Mason White, and a bunch of other people. They low key have a really good bullpen, and then a really good Sunday guy, which is going to win you a ton of games. They looked really good this weekend, even though they gave Tennessee a run for their money there for a little bit. It almost makes you wonder if they played Tennessee on a Saturday where, the guy that threw 3 innings against A&M of scoreless ball, what he kind of looks like against the Tennessee lineup. I don't think it would have mattered, but, it's always interesting that they went toe-to-toe, and these tournaments test your depth. And Arizona was in the arena in the game against Tennessee on a Sunday. And I think that really speaks volumes to how deep they are as a team.
Yeah, it's going to pay dividends down the road. And down the road for Mississippi State, they got Southern Miss on Tuesday, Chris.
Dude, their fan base is like, let's never do this again.
Yeah. Well, then they play. So the rest of their, pre-conference schedule: Queens next weekend, Old Dominion midweek, Nichols midweek, and then they host Texas. Which Texas
it'll get real fast. It'll get real fast.
Texas is going to travel to do, and then they got to go to Norman, play Oklahoma right after.
Yeah, it'll get real fast.
Duality. That is the craziest 1-2 weekend. They played Texas at home, and then they go at Oklahoma. Probably.
Yeah, getting them both back to back.
Oh, and then they go to LSU. Sorry.
And that'll be fun. The box will be crazy because they hate each other. Yeah. Jake, appreciate you, man. Glad it was a good weekend in Houston, and
thanks for having me.
Excited to see where you go next, my friend. Now get the hell out of here. We got a show to
Get out of here.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jake. Good stuff. Jake McKeever's the man. We appreciate him. I do want to address this comment really quickly. Jacob McCarty, for those that are listening live, Chris, you better be real careful counting A&M out. I'm not counting them out as a whole, but we should. It's not like an overreaction, but we have to have the conversation. We do. Again, one win against Rice, who everybody beat the hell out of, is not making me forget what happened on Friday, Saturday. Now, again, baseball, you have any kind of success. Success breeds confidence, which breeds more success. Maybe that happens. But, we see them going to the midweek and struggle to swing it again. It's like, oh, here we go again. But like I said earlier, maybe them dropping to 14 is going to be the best thing that ever happened to them because they did not handle one well at all. I mean, They just didn't. They've been pressing all season. So maybe them feeling like this game is so mental, maybe them feeling like the underdog will help them play better. I mean, I just, but I'm certainly, it's a long, long season. We're in March. Harrison, I don't have my doubts. A&M, they're still one of my favorites to be in Omaha. There's no question with the talent, unless we continue to see things linger. Like
you said it earlier. You didn't pick them to win SEC. You picked Arkansas. I picked LSU. Maybe people are understanding kind of why.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to handle that pressure, especially when you haven't been there lately. So, Harrison, let's go to, speaking of the number one team in the country, the new number one. Let's go to Frisco, Texas, the Frisco Classic. LSU goes 3-0, beating Kansas State in a thriller 8-5 in 10 innings on Friday. Saturday, they beat Nebraska 11-6. Sunday, they beat Sam Houston 12-8. And Harrison, the LSU Tigers are the new number one team in the country. We'll talk about their weekend, but I first want to ask you, simply put, LSU's number one, Tennessee's 2. Agree or disagree with that ranking?
Disagree. I disagree. And I say this as a neutral party. I'm very high on both teams. I picked both of them to go to Omaha. I picked LSU to win the SEC. I'm extremely high. I've been talking about it all season long. This Tennessee team, I've seen them play in person on opening weekend. I think that Tennessee is the more complete team, top to bottom, mound, lineup, bullpen, bench, freshman, then LSU. And they've proven it to us, Chris, this entire season so far, and not had any, hiccups or questions like LSU. They've played 2 tight games against Omaha at home in the box, lost one of them. And then obviously they blew them out in game 3. But LSU had an incredible weekend, I think. And part of it is because of that. But I don't think any of these rankings, let alone D1 baseball, who relies heavily on their preseason rankings and not wanting to be wrong, doesn't want to, have too much movement, especially before non-conference play, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter until conference play. Those are the most important games that matter, is conference play and then postseason, right? But I don't think that there was a chance that, looking back on it, they would have had LSU be jumped by Tennessee, even though I think they're the best team, top to bottom, full circle in college baseball, Chris.
To your point, I'm surprised they dropped A&M as far as they did. I mean, because you mentioned like they're so, it is like there's kind of like this there's a bias in the rankings, not from like a team bias. There's a, we don't want to look stupid bias, where like,
and this is exactly why I do power rankings based off play.
I feel like, to give myself some credit, I feel like I have no attachment to what my preseason rankings were. Like we're going to power rank them based off of performance and in season. I'm not attached to being right. There's some out there that it feels like more so they are attached to me. So the fact they dropped A&M 13 spots, I think was surprising.
But the fact that it took them so long to move them out of number one.
I will agree with you though, Harrison. I think, and I love LSU's ball club. Like I think they absolutely could win it all. They absolutely, when the dust settles in Omaha, could be the best team in the country. There's no doubt. Like, love their rotation, love their lineup. They're as stacked as anybody. You have to rank Tennessee number one, in my opinion. Dude, they're the defending champs, and they're kicking everybody's tail.
It's not even close. And everyone on the lineup's doing it. Everyone in the bullpen is doing it.
Dude, we have to put some respect on the balls. We have to. Like, you have to. And
this is no disrespect to LSU. They're so talented deep. But
LSU Tennessee, Harrison, might be the finals this year. It might. It really might. If the bracket shapes up, we could have an all SEC final against those two teams. Like, that's how good both are. But yeah, I'd put, for example, heck, I had Tennessee 1 last week in my power rankings. They will be 1 again, obviously. So I'd put them as the number 1 team in the country. I agree with you. And again, like you said, no disrespect. LSU's great. These two teams play each other.
Yeah.
We might be there. I can't wait.
I had a Tennessee 2, Florida 1 based off of my power rankings of in-season play.
Right.
I'm flipping that this week. I have Tennessee 1. I think Florida 3.
Yeah.
LSU 2.
Yeah. But I'll probably be the same, honestly.
Chris, you can't tell me, though, that Georgia's a better team than Florida. You can't tell me that.
God, no. You
can't. No. That's the most frustrating thing. Even Oregon State, they've played some, these tournaments, these quality tournaments, but they're 7-3, and they've looked, not great against really good teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate to throw this word out there, Harrison, because it's so early. Georgia feels fraudulent to me. That they feel like frauds. Dude, the pitching's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't care how they want to
get
spin
to
it.
that more,
The pitching's
for
a
sure.
problem. Yeah,
I got so much to say on that.
Yeah, we'll get into it more once we get through all these tournaments and stuff. We'll
Yeah.
talk some Georgia, but
to talk LSU,
to have them fifth is crazy work in my mind. Crazy work.
To go back to LSU, I mean,
Yeah.
I think Cade Anderson his fastball's been playing up a lot more than it looks. It doesn't look insanely like, Marcus Phillips' fastball, with a lot of sinker run, or like, Chris Cortez's fastball last year, just like a sinker. He's getting a lot of strikeouts in that and some on the curveball, but he just misses a lot of barrels. And then you have Kassan Evans, who comes in with a 2-inning save like he did Wednesday against a good DBU team. Had a little bit of traffic, got out of it. And then we talked about Daniel Dickinson. What he's able to do in the box, Chris, I mean, Oppo home run after they intentionally walked Jared Jones to put, first and third double play ball. And he goes, all right, I'm going to make you pay for that. Bam, Oppo bomb, right? I mean, he had an RBI squeeze bunt. He had 6 RBIs in the day. I mean, then Josh Pearson had a freaking weekend too. I mean, we talk about the production up and down through the lineup of Tennessee. LSU's able to do that too. I think it's in a different way though. Very similar, but it's less home runish and more finding a hole, base knock, double, moving a guy over. That's more LSU's pedigree so far this season. They've proven that to me and a lot of people around the country. And, they've been able to battle back early. Tennessee hasn't had these times, which is fine because they've been so good. They've been dominating everyone they've played, it felt like, or in kind of command of the game. LSU trailed by 5 in the second inning because Anthony Einstein gave up 5 runs in the first 3 innings on, single, fielder's choice, single, whatnot. His fastball and curveball getting hit around the zone a little bit, but they battled out of a hole against a quality Nebraska club who that was probably one of the most exciting games of the weekend, I think. I mean, Josh Pearson, 3 doubles in that game. Stephen Milan, incredible on both sides. He was great in the box. And then, Chris, did you see the relay that LSU had to hose the runner?
Dude, I wanted to bring that up against Kansas State. That is I'm just going to say this. Close your ears if it's not PG. Harrison, that's baseball porn. That's what that is. Like, that's the best way to put that on every instructional video in the country. Everyone.
Pearson cuts the ball off on the left. I believe it was Pearson when he came in, moved over to the left. Cuts the ball, spins, throws it to Milam. Milam turns, fires. This guy's, I think it was Kennedy flying down third base line, or third base to come score. Hernandez, great throw, great tag and dive to get him out. That saved the game in the bottom of the ninth, or top of the ninth inning, I think.
Yeah, Harrison, that's one of those plays where you love baseball, I love baseball. Like, that fires us up, man.
And then Milam has another great
play. What a relay, baby. Like, that just, like, if you love baseball, you're like, hell yeah, bro. That was beautiful.
It shows, like, they play elite defense, and Milam had a diving play in that game 1 still. Like, I think we shifted over at second, down, kind of towards the first base hole a little bit to save, which would have been the game-winning run that was on second at that time from that previous play. Gets the out at first, out of the inning. And in game 2, like I said, he has that incredible, game on both sides of the ball as well. I think he's an elite defender. And in game 3, you got Chase Shores going, who struggled, but the bullpen really, really got blown up, especially Cade Woods. But they had a 7-run second inning because of Milam, Jones, Ethan Fryer home run. Just the depth of their lineup. Derek Curiel was on base. It's felt like over 80% of the time. Production throughout the lineup just deep.
He's so good, man.
He's so deep.
Curiel's so good.
I thought the Kansas State game was really entertaining to watch, but the Nebraska game was really cool to see for a different style.
Well, the Kansas State game was entertaining to watch for the people that could actually watch it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Shout out to one thing about LSU fans is this. You can mess up streaming their game if you want, but they're going to find a way to watch it. Yeah. Shout out to our friend I won't even say her name because who knows, D1 might come after her, who knows. But there were like 30,000 people in a live stream on Twitter watching the game on somebody else's laptop. Like, LSU fans are going to find a way to watch the game. So, I mean, again, they looked really good. It's like we talked about, Harrison. There's 2 things I don't trust in this life, and it's college bullpens and college kickers. I don't trust either one of them. LSU's got they got their things to figure out in the pen, but they looked really good. I mean, and they played 2 really good teams. Sam Houston, I don't think is all that great, and we knew that going in. But K-State and Nebraska are 2 quality clubs. So,
really, really quality clubs. Yeah. And we saw Kansas State beat Arkansas.
Yeah, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah, K-State's a really good team. So, and again, Nebraska, I like some of the things they did in the portal, and I think the Cornhuskers are absolutely going to be a postseason team and could make some noise. So, but yeah, dude, the relay was one of the big highlights of the weekend. With every Danny Dickinson knock, earring sales, the stock continues to rise. Like he's got the earring with the cross going. LSU fans I talked to were like, I'm getting a cross earring because of him.
Chris, don't forget about the flip up the middle. Ball up the middle, second base goes.
Oh, dude.
Flips it to Milam, spins, throws out at first. I mean.
Oh, my God. Dude, I mean, as beautiful a 4.63 put out you're going to see.
Then McDonald.
Dude, LSU was showing out defensively.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like if you didn't realize how good they are,
guiding catches in the outfield all over. Felt like right field
after this weekend how good LSU is in the field. Like, dude, they're just like
won't
playing around out there.
That won't.
Yeah. So LSU, again, very good ball club. They're the new number one. There's going to be a lot of people agree, disagree. We both say Tennessee, but I mean, Harrison LSU would be our two. I mean, it's not like, again, LSU should be 10th. Like, no, it's 1A, 1B right now, it feels like, in college baseball with those two teams. Harrison, let's go from an LSU team, a Tigers team. Let's talk some other Tigers, but the Auburn Tigers and the Amherst College Baseball Series, or is it Amherst? I might have put an extra R in there. Either way, Globe Life, which I don't know. They have another tournament. Like, we're just getting tournaments on tournaments.
This is the last one.
This is the last one. Okay, last one at Globe Life. They've done a great job. Shout out the folks at the Ranger Stadium. They've done an incredible job hosting these tournaments. But Harrison, Auburn goes 3-0. They rule Ohio State 13-0 and 7 on Friday. They beat Oregon State, who's in the top 10, 8-7 on Saturday. They beat Baylor 7-4 on Sunday. Harrison, my question to you is simply this. Is Auburn the best team in the SEC that nobody's talking about? I mean, they lost that game to Holy Cross. I get it. But they look pretty good, man. They look pretty good.
I think it's going to go under the radar for them. And it's one thing that's kind of bigger because it was such a blowout game is Samuel Dutton's outing. I mean, 6 2-hit, no earned runs, 9 Ks, no walks. I mean, he's electric. Saves the bullpen. Ryan Hetzler uses just an inning in relief, and then you have your whole bullpen, which you needed Saturday after Cade Fisher goes 1 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned, and you got some guys struggle, like Parker struggled a little bit in the bullpen, but they competed and kept their team in it, gave them a chance to win, and a scrappy game against a very good Oregon State ball club, and you put up, you give up 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, you almost blow it, but you gotta hold your guard and win a tight one. And, that's kind of one of those things you learn a lot from that. And once conference play comes, because you're going to have those games, you're like, hey, we've been in this situation before, let's lean on that and lean on our talent and our confidence be able to go do that. I mean, that Auburn built a lead up huge. They scored in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th against Oregon State. I mean, it was just pressure on constantly. It was doubles, singles, hit by pitch, home run. I mean, it's just Ike Irish stolen base. I mean, and then Blues scored on a steal home, like finding ways to win. And that's what Auburn's doing right now.
They are. I mean, dude, I am admittedly, again, I was in Gainesville. I didn't watch every single inning of Auburn, obviously. I'm really excited, Harrison, to get a closer look at them because Butch Thompson, we love Butch Thompson. He's done an incredible job. They are a program, I think, admittedly, Harrison, right, wrong, or indifferent. Maybe this is wrong. This isn't just us, though. This is nationally. You don't talk about them as much because they're not like a blue blood college baseball program. You don't think about baseball first. When you think about Auburn, dude, we got to put respect on Butch Thompson, man. I mean, that dude, like what he's done at that program, really impressive. Auburn is investing in baseball. They've done that with Plainsman Park and the upgrades.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, again, like they're in the top 25. They debuted this week. It's them and Bama as like the best team that nobody's really, and it just shows the depth of this league, how good like the state of Alabama is.
You tweeted out about 12 SEC teams are ranked right now, and I said it the past
12.
2 weeks. I said the difference between the 6th team and the 12th team in the SEC, once conference play is going to come around, it's going to be 3 games probably. Yeah. But the top 12 could all be ranked. And how many do we have ranked right now? 12. And I mean, it's like you said, shows the depth of the league. And I mean, Auburn really, I think, had an incredible weekend. I mean, they did everything that they would have hoped for and we wanted to see out of them, and I think it started with just Samuel Dutton's outing on Friday night, just kind of setting the tone. And you have Cooper McMurray, who his family was in town to watch the game, watch him play. They surprised him, and he goes 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. I mean, and then Saturday, it's a different guy. You have guys up and down the lineup, being able to do stuff. Ike Irish has a good game. Chris Rimbert, freshman, one of the 3 freshmen starting in a role playing situation in the field for Auburn. He had 4 RBIs on Saturday. I mean, he's been looking really good, and he's talented for a freshman for sure. He's starting in SEC. And then Sunday, you got other guys stepping up. You got Chase Freilich, 3 for 4. I mean, he looked really good too.
Chatterton, the starter Sunday's a freshman too, right?
Yeah,
Chatterton?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I saw Auburn tweet about it. I mean, dude,
He's
5 innings, 2
underclassmen.
hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 9 Ks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
and that was the biggest thing I talked about was length out of the starters, and they're starting to get that more with Dudden and then Chatterton.
They are that team, I think. Them and you could throw Bama in this too. Laying in the grass. They are going to. They probably won't.
Season are very similar teams.
Who does Auburn have again? I can look it up real quick.
For what?
I'm on their
play?
Yeah, I'm on their schedule now. Auburn has. Let's see. To open SEC play, Vandy at home,
and then at Kentucky,
and then at Kentucky.
They could get Georgia.
Rolling. They could get rolling.
They could get real hot to start because I mean they got
and then Bama.
Yeah.
So I mean,
the back half is brutal.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's very tough. But no, I mean, Auburn's that team laying in the weeds. They're probably not going to win the conference, Harrison, but man, they're going to be hell for 3 games every weekend. They're going to be absolute hell. Harrison, let's move on to the Las Vegas College Baseball Classic again. Pick your tournament, tons of them. Las Vegas Ballpark, Texas. They go 3-0, scoring 10+ runs in every game. Friday, 10-9 against Washington in a game that got really squirrely late, but they win. Saturday, 10-5 against Texas. Sunday, 15-6 against Illinois. Jared Spencer's a dude. The pitching has been a little bit like the starting rotation, probably been better than I expected. And the offense rakes, dude. The offense is just going to rake all year. So, I mean, this team will go as far, I think, as the offense probably takes them. But, dude, Jared Spencer's just been shoving in that Friday spot. Kind of felt like a ho-hum business-like weekend, Harrison, for Texas.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see a cleaner, less errors, and some of the bullpen got shelled in the 7th and 8th inning on Friday after a good Jared Spencer start, who shoved again. Then Duplantier and Max Grubbs clean innings to end it, and they closed the door there. And obviously, Jalen Flores, super talented. He had 2 home runs. Ryan Galvin had a 3-run run to blow it open midway through the game before they blew that lead in the 7th and 8th. And I mean, like you said, this team's going to hit, and they have proven that to me, especially because I don't want to say concerns, but I wasn't sold on the hitting immediately. I mean, 7-run second inning in game 2. Luke Harrison shoved. I mean, Ethan Mendoza, Will Gasparino, Adrian Rodriguez all had home runs. They had 11 hits in the game. Dylan Valantis, one of their, if not go-to arms, absolutely dealed out of the bullpen. 3-inning save. He looked phenomenal. Really impressed with him. And then, game 3, they have 17 hits. A 4-run response in the 4th after getting up a 5 spot. They had a 9-run 6th inning with lots of doubles and just constantly just moving the bases around, moving the guys around the bases. I mean, Cade Bling struggled to start, but Max Grubbs, again, held it down. 4 1/3 relief inning. I mean, he's just a star of the bullpen, and Grayson Saunier, clean save for him. The bullpen's looking really good. The arm farm is working again. It's doing exactly what it does. Max Wiener proving to be one of the best pitching coaches in the SEC. And he's proven that at Texas this year in year 1.
Hey, Harrison, the Wiener's working in Austin, baby.
No comment.
I mean, how do I collect myself after that? I had to. It was the low-hanging fruit. No, listen.
We were wondering.
Hey, no, that's what I want to say. Texas.
More concerned about pitching.
Hey, the Texas Longhorns. What if I'd have told you, Harrison, Monday, March the 3rd, before the season, that on Monday, March the 3rd, the Texas Longhorns are the best team in the state of Texas right now?
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
I mean, they are. Yeah. Are they not?
No, they are. I'd be surprised.
I mean, and they're ranked ahead of A&M, which it's beautiful, by the way. On a side note, this season's been so fun because every time you post about either one of them, Texas or Texas A&M, the other fan bases in the mentions just trashing them. So those posts always go crazy. But no, I'm excited about this Texas club, Harrison. They're like some others that the ceiling of the pitching staff is going to control what they are. You know what I mean? Because they can hit. They're going to swing it with everybody. What is the pitching going to be besides the frontline guys? Depth.
I think, like I said, Dylan Valantis and Max Grubbs, I think the bullpen are 2 of the best relievers that I've seen so far in the SEC, proving themselves with the stuff they have and going out and executing.
Yeah. Harrison, let's go to the tournament that, again, went under the radar. Southern California College Baseball Classic at Jackie Robinson Stadium in L.A. Give credit to the Vandy Boys, I think, Harrison, for just going out there and being willing to challenge themselves and play this. But they go 1-2 on the weekend. They win Friday, started off strong, 8-3 win at UCLA. They lose Saturday and Sunday, 3-1 to USC, 6-2 to UConn. Harrison, I think some of our concerns for Vandy offensively showed themselves this weekend. I think that's the big takeaway. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good weekend for the Vandy boys. You gotta find some offense here, especially again when you're going up weekend after weekend against these SEC clubs that they've got stacked lineups 1 through 9. That was our big question. Like J.D. Thompson, he's going to pitch well every single weekend. He's a dude. He's a horse. Are they going to be able to hit enough? The answer this weekend was no.
Yeah, and it was nice. Obviously, J.D. Thompson's going to give you a great chance to win the ballgame every Friday. It feels like he's done it yet again. He's done it every start so far this season. He's a veteran. They didn't have to use their big guns out of the bullpen like Miller Green on Friday because Connor Fennell gives you a clean inning. Alex Kranzer gives you 3 strong innings, 1 run, and gets the save. And just, yeah, you had, 8 runs in 3 innings. You had 4 in the first, 4 in the third on, a really good day from Brody Johnston. I think he's a freshman, or he's an underclassman at least. RJ Austin, struggles a little bit in the leadoff spot, but someone else stepped up and it was Brody Johnson. And then, like you said, Saturday, just the hitting concerns and just the inability to kind of string several hits together, but also Ethan McElvin struggling again. Short start, he goes 2 1/3, 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 runs. It's 5 Ks. It just feels like it's, I don't want to say all or nothing, but just strikeout Walker just getting barreled. So the struggle is there, and you bring in some of your big guns. Brennan Sieber, Sawyer Hawkins, and Matthew Shirley had 2 shutout innings at the end. I mean, the bullpen really saved you there, but just the offense couldn't get you back in the game there, and that was frustrating to see. You had 5 hits, but so did Southern Cal, and they had 3 runs. They made the most of their 5 hits. And then Sunday, Cody Barker, not a great start. Gives up 4 in 4 innings, and then the bullpen after England Bryan does their job of almost 4 shutout innings, no hit. But again, the offense just struggling a little bit to get things going. They had 10 hits though, Chris. Just none of them together with runners in scoring position. It's the biggest thing. And then just UConn taking advantage of that. I mean, they had 3 home runs, 2 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th, and just made the most of their hits.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the struggles with on Saturday, like the pitching. I mean, Harrison, if their pitching struggles, it's going to be a long year for Vandy because I just don't think they're going to outslug anybody. Like they're gonna have to win games 5-3, 4-2. Like that's kind of how they're probably going to win. If the pitching struggle, like on weekends where the pitching struggles, it's probably not going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, and then if you have pitching struggle and then RJ Austin goes 0 for like he did on Saturday,
he's got to carry that offense. He's got to carry that offense. I mean,
he was 1 for 4 on Friday, 0 for 4 on Saturday, and then 3 for 5 on Sunday, and it just wasn't enough. Like you talk about, like you got to have a deep line with the SEC to protect players, protect your best guys. Brody Johnson had a good Sunday, 3 for 5. Ryan Nelson 2 for 4, but just not enough production consistently to have runners in scoring position and drive them in, and that's one of the concerns we've had for Vanderbilt. So
yeah, it's what scares you about them. I think it's what really scares you about them in regards to like. Vandy could make Omaha, but the floor for them is pretty low. It's
a very wide range for sure.
That's what scares you about them.
They got on Tuesday. They got Evansville,
who just split with Mizzou, which we'll get into in a second.
Yep.
Harrison, we saved it for later in the show because what wasn't good for my battle, my going on battle against our buddy Micah just means less. Clemson said it means more than South Carolina because they swept them. They swept them in all 3 games. South Carolina loses. Clemson, Greenville, Columbia was how this series played out, in case you didn't keep up.
Best rivalry in college baseball. Don't get it
One
twisted.
of them, no doubt. The intensity, no doubt. Friday, South Carolina loses 5-3. Saturday, they lose 5-1. Sunday, they lose 8-2 in a game they made 4-2 late. Clemson scores, I think, 4 in the top of the 9th in game 3, pulls away.
Yeah. I think it was 3-1 on game 2 on Saturday.
Okay, was it? Okay, my bad.
Like we said, I said when I made my picks, and we both picked Clemson to win the series, I said it feels like all 3 games are gonna be close. Sunday they just pulled away late.
Yeah, all 3 had a very close feel. To your point, Sunday again got away late.
I mean,
Harrison, Clemson, South Carolina hit 160 in the series. They hit 160.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, was it game 1 alone? 1 through 4 hole for South Carolina went 1 for 12 with 7 Ks.
I mean, Harrison, for those that don't know, like you and I, you're an alum. People know what I used to do or what this entity was. we've got a very unique vantage point on South Carolina. I'm going to say this. It's a shame what the program is. I'm just going to say that. It is. Because growing up watching South Carolina baseball, you used to see that Carolina across the chest, and it would strike the fear of God in you. Like, man, we're in for a hell of a weekend. Like, this is one of the best programs in the country. Like, you kind of looked at them like a Tennessee right now. You know, you looked at them with the likes of the LSUs of the world. Like, they were that program. It is so disheartening to see what that program has become. It is. And this isn't a one series thing, but the series is kind of highlighted. Like, it highlights it. It brings it to the forefront. Harrison, it's so disheartening because this program is such a shell of itself, of what it once was, of the glory that it once was. Because guess what? 2010 and 11 and 12, they're only getting further away. That's not who you are anymore. Like, that's not what South Carolina baseball is. And I think they hired Paul Maneri hoping he could bring them back to some sort of national relevance, if you will. Buddy, it's going to take more than just hiring an old coach. An old, I don't care how many wins he had. Very successful, but I don't care how many wins he had at LSU. Like, they just don't. Here's the thing, Harrison. They just don't have dudes, man. That's and he just got there. So, like, maybe it's unfair, obviously, but the expectations there are really high. They are, as I think they probably should be. But at the same time, it's like, you're not that program anymore. Like, I'm sorry, Harrison, but, like, if Matthew Becker's your one, buddy, you're going to struggle.
You know who's going to be the one now? James McCoy.
McCoy looked really good Saturday. Yeah.
Really good.
Dude, the pitching's not letting them down.
And that was the thing. We thought that, playing against Milwaukee, Sacred Heart, we're like, all right, well, they're going to see a real lineup and a deep lineup in Clemson. The pitching held up a game.
Looked good. SECU looked really good. I mean, I was really impressed with SECU.
I mean, Dylan SECU, he was a TDA with, I think some soreness or whatnot, but he looks really sharp, and he was electrified on Sunday. He was locked into the series.
Harrison,
for him.
There may not be a player in the SEC who I feel worse for than Ethan Petrie, because he is a bona fide stud. He's one of the best sluggers in the SEC that essentially nobody's going to talk about this season because his team's not going to be good. And you talk about lineups like having guys to protect him. There is nobody in that South Carolina lineup to protect him. Nobody.
No one consistently.
No, I mean,
he had an 11-game hit streak snapped in was it game 2 or game 1? So,
every now and then, Kennedy Jones. Every now and then,
Nathan Hall's been overall solid in leadoff spot. He struggled this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it just. Which I want to ask you this too, Harrison. On a side note, they showed a lot of highlights of the Naraki. The kid Naraki is starting at second base for South Carolina, and showed him last year. Like,
from Clemson.
That's something I don't think I'll ever get used to. Like, I just. Why would you take that guy? I'm sorry, but, like, why? Like, why? Just, I mean, the rivalry still mean. I mean, granted, I say that, and I just went to the Florida-Miami series where Blake Sear literally lashed, and I met Blake, love Blake. He's an awesome dude. I talked to him about off the record why he made the move, and it made a lot of sense. But, last year he hits a home run against Florida. He's flashing the U, rounding the bases. This year he's talking to me about, I'm going to break the U in half. It's like, it's just something as a fan of the game, I'll never get used to that. That just, to me, it's weird. Let's acknowledge it's weird. It's okay to say that. It's weird.
I don't care what sport it is, even.
No, God, no. It'd probably be weirder in football because, because of the gravity of it. But anyways, back to South Carolina gets swept. Harrison, this is a team I feel pretty sure on that it's going to be a long year for them. They did
face really good pitching. I thought knock for Clemson. He didn't. The stat line doesn't prove it, but I think he competed his butt off. He was absolutely locked in. He was hyped for this game, hyped throughout the game, and he just was so.
Clemson's a good club. You and I are both high on Clemson.
Stuff. Yeah,
it's not like South Carolina lost to a bum team. Like, Clemson's a very good baseball. You
have Lucas Milstead at the bullpen for Clemson, who was great in relief. And then Braden Stone for South Carolina was great in relief to match him. In the game 2.
Stone looked really good. Stone looked really good Friday.
Yeah. And Ethan Darden in game 2 for Clemson, he had the best start of the weekend for Clemson. He was dialed. His stuff was all on. He was feeling it. And that was going against James McCoy, who nearly shoved. He had 12 Ks, most on the fastball, some sliders or kind of cut sliders. It was deep, though. And I mean, he had a new career high. He matched in strikeouts with 9 and only 4 1/3. And then obviously kept going past that, hit 12. But game 2, South Carolina top 5 hitters went 3 for 18. Ethan Petrie, he did have his 47th career home run, tied for 3rd in program history. But Clemson was just able to have more consistent, innings, put innings together with, whether it was a single, playing small ball, or a double. And they did that in the 9th, and it allowed them to pull away and have 3 insurance runs to make it not as close of a game. But like I said, I thought Clemson was just had a deeper lineup and was going to have more clutch hits, and they did all weekend.
Yeah, it played out, I think, especially you, but I think how both of us expected. I mean, neither one of us called for the sweep, but I mean, Clemson was just a better team.
Nathan Hall he led the Gamecocks with 4 hits in 3 games.
I mean, dude, they hit 160. They hit 160. Harrison.
I mean, Justin Legurnick for Clemson was really good too.
He was the kid, right, that got touched up in Arlington when I was there. But they told us, I think maybe they told Jake, but they told us, maybe it was Mike. It was Micah telling me. They told us they love the Legurnick kid. Like Friday stuff. If he can locate, it's Friday stuff. It's just, is he going to fill up his
watched
zone or
his
not?
changeup's really good. The
His
sweeping
shit was
slider's
filthy,
deep.
dude.
The fastball plays up with that arm angle. But then Dylan Eskew, he was fired up. He was sharp. His slider was deep at times. Had
Eskew's slider was nasty. That was nasty. Yeah.
And Carolina struck out 37 batters in the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's the frustrating thing for them. The pitching is doing its job. The hitting is not. Back to Legurnick really quickly, Harrison. He's a guy, dude. Everything moves.
I like watching him pitch. Yeah.
He is fun, dude. Huge, lanky lefty.
Telling me the same thing that I know, that they say they're high on him and they like what they see in him. Just the kind of the different. You don't see that kind of arm slot much.
He's probably Clemson's Friday guy next year. I mean, or maybe unless Canuck, I think, is back, but he's going to be one of their dudes for a few years.
Yeah,
and assuming he doesn't go anywhere.
We talk about the rivalry and just kind of, I think part of the recruiting aspects in it too. South Carolina has the 36th recruiting class, the 2024 class of graduates for high school, the 36th class in the country. Clemson, 13.
I mean,
because that feels weird.
I mean, Harrison, it pains me to say, but South Carolina's got 2 national titles. That's great. Again, that was 15 years ago. Clemson's the superior program in the state now. They just are. I mean, they're
South Carolina is 89th.
Yeah, I mean, I know that South Carolina's got the national titles, but Clemson's the better program. I don't even know how you can argue it at this point. And I would say this, Harrison, I'm not trying to pronounce them dead start of March, but I think South Carolina's going to get pummeled in SEC play. I really do. I think they're going to this team may not make the postseason. And that's what we predicted them going in. I had them kind of right on that cut line. They're going to be
14 and 16 or 13.
They're going to be fighting for their postseason lives, but I could absolutely see them going 12 and 18, 13 and 17. The teams they're going to play are so much better offensively. I'll be honest with you, I don't trust the 1-2 punch of SQ Becker going through the SEC. I really don't. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I really don't. So. Harrison, we're going to get in the rest of the weekend really quickly. Before we do, though, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because FanDuel is your home for NBA live betting. So even if you missed the first few minutes of the game or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can make your picks from the first whistle until the final buzzer. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New FanDuel customers get started with $150 in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 and up and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Harrison, let's talk the best of the rest of the weekend.
Better start it where I want it.
I'm going to get there. Bama, Ole Miss, OU, Kentucky, they all sweep. Ho-hum. I don't know. There's a ton to discuss, although.
Other than that, Justin LeBron is an absolute animal and it should be in the Golden Spikes conversation.
We got to start having a convo.
Hey, I posted Keelan too. I
posted that about LeBron though. And you know what I love? I'm going to give a clap here for the Bama fan base. They're getting into baseball. I love that. Hey, when I post, we need to start having a Justin LeBron Golden Spikes combo. You know what I love, Harrison? I love Bama fans being on the prize like, you're late to the party. Good. Call me out. Good. I love that. Y'all are fired up for baseball. Auburn, get your ass fired up too. I want to see y'all in the comments. Like,
I want to see them both.
I know basketball is ruling the state right now, but you better talk some baseball. The other ones, Harrison, Georgia and Arkansas. They both swept. It was far from comfortable. Both of them needed walk-offs. Let's start with the Dogs. That's where you want to go. Boy, Florida Gulf Coast swung the bat, buddy. They swung the damn bat. I mean, at one, Georgia ranked 5th in the country. I'll let you go, man. I know you got a lot to say on the Dogs.
All right. I think Georgia is I don't want to say frauds, but I think the biggest misknown team in the country because they're ranked, 5th right now?
Harrison, can we just call it what it is? They're overrated. They are right now. They're overrated. I mean,
Georgia is the most overrated team in the country right now, hands down in college baseball. They're ranked top 5 now in the country, and the struggles that they've had against much inferior opponents. I mean, you play Quinnipiac, great. You play, UNCW, solid mid-major, but you drop one of them. You play UIC, and then you play Florida Gulf Coast. Kennesaw State in the midweek. Midweeks do matter, but the pitching has just struggled immensely on the starting pitching side. It was, I think, coming into the series or after Friday, it was the starters have pitched a combined 21 innings this season and have a 9 ERA. The bullpen has pitched 65 innings this season, Chris, and had a 1 flat ERA. And it happened again throughout the weekend. Leighton Finley, two innings. He is their Friday night guy. 2 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. Saturday, they end up game 2, they end up run ruling them 10-0 in 7. But Goldstein goes 2 clean innings, no hit. Zach Brown, 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Lucas Morisi goes 2 clean innings, 1 hit. But, game 3, Alton Davis, who's a really talented guy. I think he's a really deceptive lefty. 1 inning, 6 earned on 4 hits. And then Bryden Zeldin gives up 2 in the third. 2 and 3 innings, and then the bullpen after that slams the door shut with 1 hit, no earned. And then Sunday, better, but the bullpen struggled a little bit more than the starting pitching, even though it was kind of a bullpen day throughout. It felt like no one went more than 2 1/3, but that cannot happen in the SEC. And it can't happen if you're a top 5, top 10 team playing non-conference opponents as weak as they are. They can go out slug teams like, Quinnipiac, UIC, and Florida Gulf Coast. You win 10-9. You give up 11 hits to Florida Gulf Coast, and then you run rule in the next game, and then you struggle and give up 8 runs, and you hit a walk-off against Florida Gulf Coast. Congrats. You're ranked the top 5 team in the country, supposedly. This shouldn't be close for Georgia, and it is the most overrated team so far this season, and it's been consistent for me throughout the season of what they can do. They can hit up and down the lineup. That is not a problem, Chris. We know they're going to hit. This lineup's deep, and it's multiple guys and different guys each game, but the pitching staff has struggled immensely on the starting side. The bullpen has done their job, but to throw as many innings as they have before conference play, you gotta be worried for when the SEC rolls around the gauntlet that it is.
Harrison, can you repeat the starting pitching number? You said 21 innings?
It was, I think after Friday, it was 21 innings. The starting pitchers are thrown. They've had a 9 ERA, and I'll double check it and post it after Sunday.
That's insane.
9 ERA, and then the bullpen has thrown 65 innings and has a 1 flat ERA.
Here's the thing, Harrison.
You're gonna shout out to a friend from Georgia for that, helping with that stat. But that's
if you're going to be the 5th ranked team in the country, they better have a starting rotation that I can brag about.
And
Georgia does
really
it.
Good. Yeah. He's good. He's just struggled immensely.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the question we had about Georgia. I agree with you. I think they're overrated. I think they're severely overrated. I don't know what it is, why they want to rank them that high, but they're overrated.
They have the 25th RPI apparently, which I just don't understand. I mean, their non-conference strength of schedule 156, and this is happening against them.
And to your point, I mean, it's the disadvantage of playing
congrats,
nobody.
12-1.
Yeah, but
I
they
think you
play
should be,
nobody.
I know who A&M as a baseball team is more than I know what Georgia is.
And as much crap as we give an A&M, you'd rather, like you said, go through the adversity now versus a Georgia.
I know what Vanderbilt is more than I know what Georgia is.
Yeah, I mean, versus a Georgia who it feels like we're going to get to SEC play, and I'm not going to be surprised if they get swept opening weekend. Like, I'm just like, well,
they might lose, 8-6,
dude.
9-7,
intriguing.
7-6.
Kentucky at Foley for 3
to start,
and then they go to Florida. So, and then Auburn at home. Yeah, it just. Yeah, they are. They're playing with fire. That's the best way to put it.
I can say it right now. I mean, at the way they're playing right now, let's say it continues. I think Florida sweeps.
Yeah, they're playing with fire. There's no question. Harrison, Arkansas, they also sweep in dramatic fashion. By the way, shout out, I forget the kid's name, but an immaculate inning in Fayetteville over the weekend. That was really cool. Any thoughts on the Hogs? I mean, hey, we talked about it. Charlotte ain't a bad mid-major now.
And Chris, we talked about what this weekend, what should we expect from Arkansas? I think it was a tune-up weekend against a solid mid-major in which you need to go out and prove and continue to work on things like the offense. I think that they showed, the offense has a lot of fight in it. I mean, especially game 1 and game 2. Game 1, they were down, what was it? They were down like 7-0 or something. Or sorry, They were down 9-1. In the top
had like a 9-run inning, right?
They gave up 4 in the 4th to be down 9-1. They had a 10 spot in the 4th.
Yeah. Dude, Gackle we talked about Friday. He got touched up, dude.
3 innings, 10 hits, 9 earned, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. I mean,
very uncharacteristic.
That was his worst career outing. And we know he's going to bounce back. He's too talented not to.
Yeah.
And, the bullpen took care of business after that. Dylan Carter was good. Colin Fisher, really good. Parker Coyle and Christian Fouch was good to close it out. They up 1 earned the rest of the game. I mean, it was just that had to implode Razorback fans to watch that game. Like their heart rate had to have been sitting at like 180 at minimum, and then Zach Root, after he has a, decent start, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, 8 Ks, 2 walks. I mean, not what you want to see or kind of expect, but not terrible. The bullpen after, the ending 3 innings, the bullpen with Aiden Jimenez and Carson Wiggins, they shut it down for 3 innings. But I mean, you expected them to put up a lot more offense than they did. I think they actually I'm not gonna say than they did, but you expected that not to happen from Gabe Gaekle, and you expect them to kind of score what they did. 11, 8, and they scored 4 on Sunday. But you expect them to score, high offensive numbers against a team like Charlotte, like they should, and you expect to, kind of ramping up, like we said before SEC play, get the offense going as much as possible right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the thing to monitor with Arkansas will continue to be the offense. I agree with you. I think
Logan Maxwell hit good.
I think Gabe's going to bounce back big time. I'm not worried about their pitching.
Kalu Aloy, how do you say his name?
Aloy?
Yeah, the brother.
Kuhio
Aloy.
I think it's Kuhio.
He hit really great all weekend.
Yeah, I love watching the Aloys, man. They're really good. Successful weekend in Fayetteville. We mentioned Harrison again from the rest. Justin LeBron at Bama. Absolute freak. Ole Miss is really intriguing to me. They sweep over I think it was Wright State, right? They swept over the weekend. Yep. Hunter Elliott we got to talk about him as one of the best aces in the SEC. I know everybody wants to give it to Liam Doyle or Liam Peterson or Cade Anderson, but I think Hunter Elliott's right there. And I want to give a shout out to, I had my Oklahoma buddy text me last night. Are you going to lead off the show talking about Oklahoma still being undefeated? There were more notable results, but OU is still undefeated. Let's give them their credit.
And they played Cal State Northridge. Like, congrats.
I know. I gave him some crap.
Yep.
No, he was messing with me. Kentucky sweep. They're very just, Kentucky's just, again, another one where, like, we don't know. They just have played nobody.
I have something to mention for Ole Miss. I mean, Hunter Elliott, elite Friday night guy who has continued to prove that. I mean, then you have Riley Max Saturday, and then you have Mason Nichols, who started from Sunday. He went 4 innings. Yeah, he gave 4 hits, 3 runs, but 10 Ks, 1 walk. Hunter Elliott did have 5 walks, which is a little uncharacteristic of what we've seen so far from him and the talent that he is. But offense takes care of business and helps him out. They just scored. It felt like almost every other inning. 9 runs to cap off a 12 hit game, win 9-1. But Ole Miss, I think, is a quiet under the radar SEC team as well.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. We'll see what they do in SEC play, but I like what I'm seeing from Ole Miss right now.
And the bullpen overall looked good for Ole Miss too.
Yeah, it did. It did. Harrison, we talk about every SEC team here, so I'm going to quickly mention it. The Missouri Tigers, 2-2 against Evansville. They stink. I'm going to mention them because I refuse to not talk about every team. Mizzou sucks. They suck. It's okay. They suck. We can admit that. They, again, 2-2 against the mighty Evansville, who you mentioned was in the Supers last year, but Evansville stinks. So, Mizzou's just not good. I feel for Carrick Jackson. He's a good coach, but my goodness, they are just not. They are just, again, you and I, we made the joke off the air, but really, truly, like the SEC win counter, it's like over under 4.5.
I got a stat for you. SEC record so far this season.
You did look this up, didn't you?
Yeah, so they went, what was it? Let me see, I have it. So on Friday, SEC teams went 11-3. Saturday, they went 14-4. Sunday, they went 11-5. In this season, the SEC is 140-25 versus non-SEC teams so far this season.
Nice. Love that. Again, Mizzou going to be a long year in Como, which, I mean, it's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it to make a sound. If nobody watches Mizzou baseball this year, did they really stink? Because I don't know how many Mizzou fans are going to be locked in. If you are out there, please let us know. I'd love to know that. If you're a Mizzou fan locked in on the Tigers, and we'll say something nice, I suppose. All right, here, so let's get to the midweek. We got a big midweek slate, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to hit the highlights because it's a lot of games to read off. I highly suggest, shameless plug for warrennolan.com if you're looking for scores, or you can go wherever you like to get scores, but I like to use them. Harrison, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday, the highlights. Florida travels to UCF. That'll be interesting, especially from the pitching side for them. Who do they use? What jumps off?
Alabama, Jacksonville State.
Yeah, Bama, Jack State could be interesting.
Jack State's got they got a recently brand new ballpark. It's beautiful for the mid-major.
Yes, so Bama is
close as nice as Oklahoma's.
So Bama is, they're going there. You are right. Yeah, they're going there. Auburn's going to UAB. So both Bama teams are going on the road. Mississippi State, Southern Miss, we already mentioned that the gauntlet of the midweek slate continues for the Bulldogs. They need to win one of these. How about Oklahoma, Harrison, going to Dallas Baptist?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Hunter Ballpark, that's going to be an awesome test for Oklahoma. And I think that'll be the spotlight of the midweek over Southern Miss, Mississippi State. Yeah.
And so that's really the highlights of the Tuesday slate. Everybody else kind of plays your – Arkansas ULM could get interesting, maybe. Dude, Georgia High Point could get interesting.
Yeah, High Point's not bad.
High Point's 9-3. 9-3 overall.
We saw them in the postseason at Clemson Regional last year.
Yeah, that's a good program. That's a very good program.
Yeah, Big South.
Yeah, and then Wednesday, Arkansas plays ULM again. That's interesting. Xavier, who's got an insane non-conference slate, goes to Tennessee. Good luck. South Carolina at this. Go ahead.
Undefeated Murray State. Traveling to the Swayze Crazies at Ole Miss.
Could be fun. Yeah. South Carolina going to the Citadel. That might be interesting. Hey, by the way, fun fact for those out there. My coach in college at Newberry is the head coach of the Citadel now. Russell Triplett. How about that? Bama hosts Troy. That will be fun.
That'll be
the Fighting Skylar Meads going to Tuscaloosa. Florida hosting FAU.
FAU's not bad at all. They're
not
really
bad.
good.
And anytime Florida's playing in the midweek, it's notable. So what I know we just went through them, Harrison, but what jumps out to you midweek games you're most excited about? Who's on upset alert?
Upset alert, Mississippi State versus Southern Miss.
By the way, Georgia hosts Georgia State Wednesday too. That game was close last week at their place.
Yeah. Georgia State's 9-2 this year. They're not bad. The Fun Belt, best group of 5 conference in the country. Obviously, the ranked ones of the United States, Southern Miss upsetting Mississippi State potentially. Oklahoma at DBU is going to be electric. You're not going to see, the Witherspoons, but you're going to see a lot of elite arms and who's who of the bullpen and, kind of more role player guys. I think on the Oklahoma side of things more so. I said Alabama, Jacksonville State's going to be interesting. What else? Florida midweek's always,
Here's my prediction for the midweek, Harrison. They're going to get my ass for this, but I think Florida drops a midweek game. I don't know who they lose to. I think they're going to lose one of them, though. Dude, these teams Florida baseball is different. It's not because I've just been down here, but, dude, the depth, there's so many good baseball players and teams in the state of Florida. I don't even say that it's an indictment on Florida that they're going to lose a midweek, but, dude,
I'd say FAU. I mean, because it's the second day of the midweek, and it's you're not going to use a bunch of high level leverage guys as much.
They're going to lose one of those. I think they're definitely going to lose one.
Wednesday, Troy, Alabama. I think that's going to be the biggest highlight, and I think, I want to hear your opinion too. Troy, Alabama. Who's most likely to lose a midweek game and have suffer their first loss of the season? Alabama or Oklahoma?
It's a good question. Well, I think Bama, from the standpoint, they play 2 games and OU plays 1. That would probably that increases the chances. No doubt. But based off the competition
of just those 2 games, I'm going to agree with that. I think Bama, honestly.
I think Bama too. Yeah.
Jacksonville State's a good club.
They're playing two solid clubs this week.
Chris, this feels like the most loaded slate weekend and week to week in the midweek that we've ever had to start a season.
Yeah.
That I can remember, at least the last 3 or 4 years.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah, but it's a lot. Yeah, we're having a blast, man. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great games. Maybe I'll
matter, Chris.
Harrison. Maybe I'll go 3 for 3 on psycho pitchers and going viral on social media.
We'll see.
I don't know if I can. Hey, you out there, you that's tuned in that pitches for so and so. I know you're out there. Do something funny on the mound. I'll make a clip and we'll see if we can make it go viral. Now I think guys are going to become aware. Somebody out there is going to be
5 million views in 2 weeks.
They're going to be doing something funky on the mound. So please do it. I'd love that. It's done well for our socials. So no, it's going to be a fun midweek slate, Harrison. It's been a fun season thus far, guys. We can't say thank you enough. Appreciate you all tuning in. This show has been electric to this point, and we're just getting started, man. Harrison, by the way, we should highlight last midweek slate before conference play gets going. The way pitchers are managed will change. Things kind of just feels like get a little more.
We have one more midweek slate, right? Because you have non-conference. You have SEC non-conference this week. ACC starts this upcoming weekend.
Well, I'm saying the midweek slate next week.
Next week is the last.
Will be leading into conference play.
Correct.
So it's the last midweek slate without a conference weekend awaiting.
Correct.
So the intensity is going to pick up a little bit. It's already there. It's already really high, but man, we're enjoying it. Guys, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and close the show out. We've been going for an hour and a half now, Harrison. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Harrison, I'll say this, any final thoughts, any main takeaways, any message you want to get out there that we either did not hit on or did not hit on enough that you want to echo here?
I'll just end with this and say that this is, as close as we are to conference play, this is the time where you hone in on the little things and you do them well at a consistently high level. Teams determine how strong of a start and the momentum they have going into conference play. And you learn a lot about, role guys off the bench in the lineup and in the bullpen. And I'm excited to see who it is and who steps up and what teams step up in those situations, because there's one big hit that matters, one big pitch that matters, and someone's going to do it. And why not it be you?
Yeah, excited to, again, go through this last week of the true non-conference feel. We're so close to SEC play starting. That's when the men will get separated from the boys, truly. So
that, and you only get to have to watch 8 series.
That is a great point. It'll make our lives a little bit easier. Guys, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Harrison Fant, I'm Chris Phillips. This is the Windup. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you all on Thursday.